Yes, boys. I've got a full starting 11 on the panel tonight, man.
Fucking hell. Hold on. Is this Chelsea's squad?
Yeah, that's it. Because he's not big enough on the screen. He wants, there you go, mate.
Is this Chelsea's squad? And there was only 5 a minute ago, and now there's like 15. It's getting big like Chelsea's squad as well. Fucking hell.
No. I did the standard thing, like where I send out the messages to people, like, "Oh, you want to come on the stream?" And like most people, are like, "Oh, I got busy or whatever." And then everyone tonight was just like, "Yeah, man, I'll get on the stream." So I was like, "Fucking great." We've got like a full squad.
We've got LB up in his StreamYard membership to get all the members.
I know. StreamYard are ringing back right now, going, "What's without a bandwidth, man? What's without a bandwidth?"
We're going for the 3-3-2 formation tonight.
We had 6 City fans on Never Foul earlier, and all the comments were, "Oh my god, you've got all the City fans in the world together on one stream." Now this is mind-boggling for some people. They're going, "Fuck
yeah,
off."
attendance.
Yeah. Can you not see we're in the ground?
So, guys, it's great to have substitutes in a five side.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, because LB don't go there.
Someone's been to the city store this afternoon, haven't they, Martin?
Do you know what? That sounds good with the City sound system as well. Fuck.
I know.
What's that?
Are you inside a cave there? What is that? A green screen?
Are you in some form of biscuit tin or something there?
I know, mate. What are you
doing? Me that I've not bought him a new mic yet. I know
it's louder than the Etihad last season for sure.
I know.
Right. Well, first of all, guys. Right, listen, lads. First of all, guys, make sure you guys are smashing up the likes. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Every single one of these guys' channels is linked in the description. Yeah, I want you guys to make sure everyone goes and subscribes to them. Because they've all jumped on at late notice, right? So go show your support. Yeah, whose channel's in there? Mancunian Way, Never a Foul, City Luke, and City Bevel. All the links are in the description. Make sure you guys are subscribing. Every single one of these has come on the show tonight with less than half an hour's notice, man. So make sure you guys are smashing the like, subscribe to the channels as well if you've not already done so. Right, for the people that are asking what is going on, Martin Ziegler, very, very, very good source when it comes to like breaking news and stuff, has come out and said this. He said, the hearing against Manchester City's 115 alleged breaches of Premier League rules is to start next month with the outcome known in early new year. The independent commission is now due to begin in mid to late September unless there are further legal delays. The hearing has been scheduled to last 10 weeks, with the commission members expected to deliver their verdict at the start of 2025. However, there's also big other news coming out, which is, I guess, sort of the more important news. The outcome of Manchester City's legal case brought against the Premier League associated party transaction rules is to be revealed in the next 2 weeks. There is a belief that Manchester City have achieved some successes in the arbitration hearing. I'll just repeat that last line again because I think that's the most important one. There is a belief that Manchester City have achieved some successes in the arbitration hearing. So that doesn't mean necessarily that they've won every single challenge, but it certainly suggests that City, obviously, when they took this case to court, every single person on this panel and everyone in the chat knows, that we was sort of like cooked online. Why is City doing this? They're ruining football. Well, according to Martin Ziegler, some of the challenges have actually been successful. Hugh, let me come to you straight away on this one, bro. This is mad news, bro.
It's a lot to take in, isn't it? It's a lot to take in. We're getting some information on the case, and I was starting to get quite, I don't know, intrigued over the outcome of that case in September June, because they said it was going to be a 2 week trial or something like that, and then we're well over a month later and we heard nothing. I was trying to weigh up: is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Is maybe the hearing itself the verdict hadn't actually been given? I'm not too sure, but we're being given a lot of information here, and it sounds like there's some sort of a D-Day on the horizon. Obviously we know the case in June doesn't really have much, if any, relationship with the 115, but there's a lot coming at once. So I mean, the 115 is the one we're all intrigued the most about, isn't it? I think the outcome of the what was it again? What was it called? The thing?
Related party transaction. Associated party transaction.
Yeah, associated party transaction. We were all like we weren't. I wasn't too concerned about the outcome of that. I knew what City were at. I knew what they were trying to do. I felt they were trying to send a message to the Premier League by doing that. But we're all most interested in the 115 to finally put an end to that. Whether it's the outcome we're all hoping for and believing in. I think all 1,200 of us here on the show, on the panel, believe that, you know, what the club say is what we'll take at face value, because the club have done so much for us to put every faith into what they say. But I'm also, if it's to be a negative outcome, we'll start to then be able to ask the relevant questions, to ask the relevant people who put our club in, or our club's name, reputation in jeopardy. Everything essentially will come to a close by the sounds of it in early 2025, which I think is nice for clarity. But what I'll say to everybody in the chat and everybody in the panel is, I would expect now that we have some sort of a date, the 115 in your comment sections to ramp up, the when the charges hit to ramp up, the pressure from the outside world to ramp up. Exactly. People will start going, oh, you're sweating now, aren't you? You're sweating now that we have a date. It's all going to come crashing down. You know, enjoy your pies down in Morecambe when you're going down there on an away trip. And
Hugh, the truth is, I was going to do a translation of basically what the journos said, and basically what certain outlets, certain reporters have translated that to, and that is Manchester City to face relegation in 3 months. That's basically what everyone is saying now, literally, just because it's said that there's a case. Whereas you're right, nothing has been said about 115. It's just said, by the way, there's a date now. It's going to start soon. The big bit of information is the final line, like LB, you repeated it, the fact that there is some success. And you know what? To any rivals that want to say we're sweating, we have to go with the same angle that everyone uses on our club. When we beat UEFA, but we got found guilty of one thing, they said, oh, well, you're still guilty. So ultimately, if we have some success, the Premier League is still guilty. Yeah? Because that's the way they view it. So it's the same thing. And, you know, I think ultimately we all knew this. If the Premier League are seen to be found guilty of anything, in that case, then that does not look good for them going into 115. And that's the truth. Because all of a sudden, there's this one thing that I think City are pushing is our name is tarnished before we already hit that courtroom. Well, now it's a bit more of an equal playing field, because now they're tarnished before we hit that courtroom. So it's all good for us. All good.
Well, we're guilty by virtue anyway, to be fair.
But now, so will they be, ultimately. There's a bit more that, do you know what? You're guilty as well, because it seems to be a bit of a thing that I still believe.
But so many rival fans are going to be like, oh, well, they're winning this case. Like, we're getting the smaller win for the overall, 115 one. They're going to be like, oh, they can win this one, but we know the Premier League are going to come back on them with everything they've got.
I don't think it really matters what. I don't think.
No, that's what I'm trying to say.
Matters as to what any fans think, any rival fans, or any of us think. For me, I always felt what City were suing the Premier League for doesn't actually matter to City that much, the associated party transaction, because City were kind of beyond that anyway. The associated party transaction stuff doesn't really apply to City specifically at this point in time. And neither do the suing for damages. You know what I mean? What if City don't get the damages they wanted back from the Premier League? City ain't going bust. For me, this was very much a statement from City saying, you're not going to bully us. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to lie down. We're not going to allow you to tarnish our reputation, and you coming out looking, crystal clear, and everyone thinking the almighty Premier League is trying to take down bad man Manchester City. It was a stand. I felt it was a stance of power and self-belief from the club that you're not as beautiful as you seem to think you are, and you're not going to bully us either in the process. So look, if the outcome is some way successful for City, of course, people will say, well, Luke's saying, well, you won this case, but that doesn't mean you'll win the next case. City don't give a fuck about that. It's City sending an indication.
It's also other clubs jumping to our aid now as well. It's very, very surprising the last couple of hours seeing Everton, Villa, and a lot more clubs starting to turn around and go, fuck, we've realised now, it's not just them. Newcastle.
But they should have seen that. It's too late for them to join the party. They should,
no, that's what I'm saying. But now they're starting to turn and realise, if City get away with this, actually, it benefits us. So let's start jumping on the bandwagon, because we should have been doing this earlier and not backing the likes of United and thinking City are the ones in the wrong here, actually.
Yeah, but they're only doing it because their club's affected. It's the
Yeah,
same.
that's what I'm saying. Like they realise now that their club's going to get away with it if we win these cases. So now Newcastle are looking in the background, going, "Oh, we've got a lot of money here that we could now start pushing through because if City win this APT case, it's massive.
This is huge for Newcastle. If they, what is it, especially a APT, if this all gets scrapped or whatever, and City win this first bit, Newcastle will be throwing parties all over the bloody place, and we'll be their second favourite team, no doubt.
Everyone's in trouble. If Newcastle don't have to deal with the APT rule, we're all in trouble. You know what I'm saying? They're going to fall. You're going to see Neymar drinking Newcastle brown ale in a couple of years' time. You know what I'm saying?
I actually think it was a clever move by the club as well, because this is sort of the pre-115 case, and in the sense of, it's a lot smaller of a case, so we know that it's going to be resolved faster. I actually think it was clever by the club to go after that side of it as well, because then I think moving into the 115 case, it puts us in better stead. I think even just in terms of confidence, from not just from sort of the board and everything themselves, but also it gives confidence to the fans. I think if we can then go and prove that what the Premier League was doing in terms of wasn't complying to UK competition law, I think that then opens the door to wider conversation about other aspects of it.
Yeah, I think it's spot on that one as well, because I've always said it in most, pretty much any other area of business, monopolies are not allowed. But it was very much the way that a lot of rules were put in were to allow monopolies. And look, I think City took the same stance with the Premier League as they did a bit with UEFA, a bit that they wanted to pull their pants down in public and expose them for what they are and let people see them for what they are. And I think it's an element of when you've towed the line for so long and said, look, we'll toe the line. But 115 was one step too far. And it was like, do you know what? Right now we're not taking your shit no more. So a prime example is this one. You're right. We don't benefit from this that much, right? As far as directly, because we're fine financially. I think that's another thing that's come out today. 11th in the net spend. Who would have thought? Big Man City, right? But we've done it just to say, right, you know what? We're going to call out we're not going to toe the line no more. We're going to call out every single little thing that you do now, because we've tried to play the game your way and it hasn't helped us.
Well, that's the thing is as well, yeah. I've done so many streams before we sued the Premier League, and I said on here countless times, City fans, this was before City sued the Premier League. If City won the 115 case, City fans would not just have accepted the same thing that you did with UEFA. Because when we won the case at CAS, City, Karl went, oh, it's all done now. UEFA went, oh, it's all done. We're best friends again. It's all sorted. This is different because when it was the CAS, no one on this panel knows a Barcelona fan or a Bayern Munich fan who lives on the same street or really communicates with you on social media. So we didn't really engage with that. But this Premier League thing is relentless. Every day you go to work, every day you go on social media, it's 115, this. And I said City fans were not going to accept it. So I think you're right, Staps. I think they went one sort of step too far. Then they obviously brought in these rules that, quite frankly, I thought the media reporting of that was absolutely shambolic. It was quite simple. As Bevel said earlier, City felt that the rules that they brought in were illegal. They didn't meet competition law. They were in breach of a law of this country. If that's the case, then they need to be removed. It's not a controversial take. Yet the media in this country, I thought the media reporting over it was absolutely disgraceful.
What's ruining football again? Are going to change everything.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
The only thing I'd say,
can I ask a question to the panel just on this? So, if obviously it's found that the Premier League were breaking the competition law, do you think that this could then prolong the 115 case? Because they'll actually go, well, hang on a minute. If they've broken sort of this law, then
I don't think so, bro. What we've been told that it's not related.
LB, just one thing. Read out the first line of
it does say legal delays in that.
It says, unless there's some legal delays.
It does say that, to be fair.
That all of a sudden makes you think, do you know what?
Why would there be legal
because for
delays?
me, the way that
You'd have to relook at. I think you'd have to go and look at everything and go, hold on a minute. Well,
Yeah.
is this because City could then go to this? And
You
go,
would have
right,
to see how the competition law then affects the
how it
115
affects
ruling and what.
everything that's happened.
it's not
Every
just
single
that for
one.
me though. Like, it's not just that for me, because if they've broken the competition law, then that opens various different doors to say, okay, well, what else have they not been complying with? And then
It's more like a monopolistic sense, though.
It's
the sort of thing.
Martin, go on.
I get what you're saying, but no, sorry, mate. I just wanted to quickly add to what Bebe said, and I thought if that's the case of where they're talking about there's going to be breaches of any sort of business laws and things like that, then wouldn't the Premier League actually have to answer possibly to the UK government for that? Doesn't it open the possibility of like Senate inquiries or? Well, I don't know how it works in the UK, but would it be something like that where basically the government may ask the Premier League to answer for itself?
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make, in the sense of, well, if they've not complied with that law, then how can they be certain that City have broken these rules when we don't even know if those rules are even lawful?
Yeah,
I think would definitely, the whole case would have to be everything would have to be looked at again. I think you're right. Ultimately, I think although it's not a direct knock on, but it would impact it 100%.
I kind of add one last point as well before Martin comes in. Yeah, the last part I would mention is City feel like this whole attack against them is completely unfair. It's come off illegally obtained documents, right? Which obviously is the wording that City use quite a lot when they're doing like the inquiry at Castle, that illegally obtained documents. And if they can prove that these rules are not valid, this ATP, maybe that could cast doubt in the guys who are doing the judgment for the 115. I don't know, but we're hearing of quite a lot of people that got completely separate. But maybe if City do win this case, and there's some suggestion that City have won some parts of the case, could that have a knock-on effect into the 115? Maybe, who knows? You have to ask the lawyers. But again, we don't really know too much about the details, so we'll have to wait and see. Sorry, Marty, go on, mate.
No, the thing is, to me, I think we're conflating the two. I think you got to remember, the only thing that's come out today about the 115 is that when the date is. The ATP stuff is different because City do have an interest in this. City said they've lost out on sponsorship money here.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
and you got to think about it. There's no coincidence in me. I'm guessing on some of it is you're starting to get news about Rodri's contract. Foden's contract, 300 odd grand a week. Rodri going up to 300 and 75 grand a week, etc. All this money's coming out of somewhere. So to me, this is the ATP was about money damage to City as well. I understand Newcastle.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right.
But City aren't. This is going to sound awful. City aren't bothered about Newcastle in that deep respect.
No.
They're bothered about them.
Yeah, but everyone's bothered about themselves. Everyone's bothered about themselves. This is why, like, when it was first brought in, there was probably less people interested in FFP. Now all these teams are suddenly realizing it's going against them. All of a sudden they've changed their mind. So to quote Pep Guardiola again before I bring Tone in, it's all about interests, man. That the guy's on the money. The guy knows what he's talking about, and that's the truth. Tone, go on, mate.
No, I was just going to say, I said it a bit earlier, but Villa fans were the classic. God, they were some of the worst having a go at us, and now suddenly, now that they're in a bit of bother and having to sell a player or two, despite being in the Champions League. Yeah, there you go. They have to sell a player now. I know I've said this before, but Villa are in the Champ League and having to sell their best player. Manchester United are down in 8th and buying another £200 million of players this summer, or will do by the end of it, no doubt. So, and now suddenly Villa are going, hang on a minute. Yeah, City are on here, and if they win, we benefit
do you know
as well.
Do you know what? The one thing I would say in some clubs' defences, not their fans, by the way, I mean the actual clubs, is ultimately they're used to this monopoly. They're used to there being, the Red Mafia, and they're used to knowing to keep their mouth shut, because if they don't keep their mouth shut, what might happen to them? So they probably have been. But you know what? And this is where it always makes me laugh when people want to see City as a big, mean, bad guy. But ultimately, look, we're good. Like we've all said, we are good, yeah. But we're standing up against the Premier League, and you will find that it takes one person to stand up against a bully, and then all of a sudden everyone comes together. And look, that in the truth of the matter, I know Reds won't like this, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United fans won't like it, but the truth is, this is what needed to happen for a very long time. Like it needed to happen, and now everyone will fall in line. It's shit, and they should have done it a long time ago. But I do understand sometimes maybe they didn't feel they had the power to, whereas we've decided as an organisation we've got the power and the money to take the Premier League, hit them where it hurts. So
yeah,
and again, I think City maybe just have had enough, and they looked at these rules that were brought in, these ATP rules, and just felt that like, you're just going too far. You're going too far. And I would also say, if they let that slide, then what's the next thing that the Premier League try and do that City feel unfair? And if City have accepted rules in the past, there's probably been rules in the past that have been implemented that City have gone, we don't really agree with that. We might not even think they're legal, but we don't want to kick up a fuss. So we'll just let that slide. But eventually, so City can't go back to them now and say, them rules that you brought in 5 years ago, we actually now don't agree with them. So because then you're just like, well, why didn't you raise it at the time? So I think maybe City just got to the point where all these rules have been brought in over the period of 15 years since the ownership's come in. You've had the CAS hearing, you've had the 115, and they've probably just had enough. And they've probably gone, we're going to stand up here and actually fight this.
LB, I think another thing, if you think about it, the one that we're talking about, so right now we're not talking about 115, we're talking about the arbitration rules, right? Now, actually, probably the reason that this has happened is because we've got the best law team you can have currently working with the club week in, week out on 115. And maybe while this has been happening, Panic's turned around and gone, hold on a minute. These rules they're bringing in, you do realise these are illegal. And it's kind of Khaldoon's gone, oh, is it? Yeah. All right then. Yeah, well, you know what? If one of the most successful legal teams in Europe is telling me that we've got a bit of a case against the Premier League, we've got a bit of a case against the Premier League, and that's what everyone.
It's a theory. It's a theory.
It's like Panic said, like, oh, while you're at it, mate, we've just found this. You might go take them to the cleaners while you're waiting for 115 to kick off.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, Panic's getting a load of money.
What is it, £80,000 an hour or something? Yeah.
Honestly, it's insane. Listen, guys, I want to come to some of these super chats. By the way, Stefan, I don't know if you're still tuned in. I have sent you the link on DMs. Let's have a look what some of you guys are saying in the comments. Quite a lot of super chats and member chats flying in. 115 likes, folks. Guys, make sure you have smashed the like button. Nearly 2,000 live viewers tuned in. So let's get those likes up, man. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel.
Man, it is the 115 decision.
Yeah.
I've already said it, man. The day that happens, providing we're innocent. If we get found guilty, probably not. If we get found innocent, bro, I'm 24 hours streaming it. By the way, guys, every single one of these guys' channels is linked in the description. They all came on with less than 30 minutes notice. Every single one of these guys, legends. All their links and channels are in the description. Make sure you go subscribe. Make sure you're following the guys on Twitter as well. Big up to AP. Big up to Tyree. Says Wharton. Bro, where's this from? This has come from Tolmy's. Put some news out today saying City are interested in Wharton and might pull the trigger. So we'll wait and see, bro. That's the wrong stream for that conversation, though, Tyrese. He says, City in it. If you know, you know. Good panel, says Tyrese. Big up to you, bro. Marshy Boy, member for 6, says, big up the City Avengers. I think that's trademark, bro. I can't claim that. He says, hope we send the Premier League into the shadow realm. Come on, City. Big up to Marshy Boy.
What's that off Yu-Gi-Oh?
What?
The shadow realm.
Actually, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
It just brought back a childhood memory there, lads. Sorry.
No idea. Professional Harambot says, Mad Panel LB, let's fucking go. Warwick, great show already. It's great to see all of our fans in one place. All of our fans, every single City fan across the world is on it right now.
How long has he had that name for, LB?
That's about 5 days.
Okay, cool. So changing to.
I think YouTube's banned him. So Alan says, until it comes from an official, it's sentiment. Sentiment is that
statement? I think that's meant to
statement
say.
Is nothing is good. Yeah, but I would also say, Alan, that the guy who released this, I'm pretty sure was the guy who released it initially. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Ziegler. Yeah,
I think Ziegler is a pretty reliable guy. And to be fair, he doesn't say we have won. He just says there is a belief that we've won some of the challenges, not all of them. Again, it's you've not got a lot. We're going off quite a little bit here, guys. So don't get too gassed. Divine says, where's the previous live with Dobbins? I unlisted it, bro, because my internet was crap. My camera was crap. It was dead. And I don't want people to waste the time watching it. Herbal says, absolute top panel this evening. Big up LB. Alan says, why are we talking about this? Is it's paper talk? Yeah, but we talked about it when it was released. It was still paper talk, Alan. Come on, man.
I'm telling you now, I take no responsibility for Alan. He's joining his other channel. He's on here right now.
Honestly,
Alan's gone rogue.
By the way, we've got Stefan in the background. I'm going to bring him in just a second. 4 more chats to go through. Tinsay says Chelsea's spending, selling like they'll be punished.
Yep.
Says Tinsay. We'll see what happens with them. It's pretty mad. Luke says, bring on 2025 and the downfall of the mutant rival tiers. Big up the panel. Looking forward to the season of content ahead. Big up Luke for the 2 months with the rival tiers from Daps. Chicken Wing says, why the leak now? We have a transfer window. Why the leak now? You'll have to ask whoever told Martin Ziegler.
That's so true, though, because we know the next international break, when the transfer window has closed, right, and there is no football, we'll just be called cheats again. It happens every single every single.
At least we're not halfway through Tottenham away.
That's true, bro. And the final chat, Alex says 7 months. Says, hello lads, what transfers would you like City to make with the money from Alvarez? We need a good 8 like Bruno G. In my opinion, he's the Gundogan replacement. I think Bruno G is probably on the top of everyone's list, but I don't think that's going to happen. ALX, we'll speak about that on another stream, bro. Listen, I want to bring in Stefan, who's kindly joined the stream. He's on voice only because he's in the car. Stefan, what can you tell us about? I mean, there's not much to go off, to be fair, but what can you add to the conversation here?
Look, if you just give me 2 minutes, in a minute, because I'm gonna lose signal just very briefly, but. So will you just come back to me in 5 minutes?
Will do. No problem.
Sorry.
No problem.
Wait, this is like having Sky outside the Etihad with like 2 hours to go.
Yeah, I know, bro. This is a
you've just got you whacking a dildo around in the background, have you?
That was the good old days. I was there that night when that happened with the baby.
It wasn't you with the dildo, was it, Martin?
Yeah, it was. He was like this.
Me and my son. And all of a sudden, no, it's not like that.
His wife is like, you brought the wrong banana.
Honestly, we stood there, and all of a sudden, because the guy come out to us, he went, right, we're going live in about 4 minutes.
Don't be telling us what you're doing if we win the 115.
No, this is what he said. He said, you've signed Robinho. So when we go live, I want you to all jump up and down like idiots. And this guy who stood with his missus pulled out this big, huge pink dildo. And we're like, what's he going to do with that?
What a shop of the day done that day.
On camera.
Don't worry.
I mean, it's that normal. It's that normal thing. What you got in your bag today? Cheese and pickle sandwiches. I've got a big pink dildo. All right, fair enough. Anyway,
I don't know why they were rolling down.
That was your weekend.
Helicopter in it.
I've got to say though, they were the days, man, before Fabrizio started leaking everything, and it just like dropped on Sky Sports News, and it just
like me and my mates. We went to Newcastle's training ground a few years ago, and it was literally after that dildo incident. No one was allowed near the reporters, so we all had to like stand at the gate and watch.
Yeah,
and it was Harry Redknapp always pulling up and like winding his window down to talk.
Yeah, and then Odin Wiggy turns up at QPR's training ground with 2 hours to go.
Whereas now, if we're being honest as City fans, I swear for the last 10 transfer windows, like everyone's turned the lights off and gone home by about 4 p.m.
We don't do these transfer deadlines. I think City should just do one this year, just to get us the excitement, man, because they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, but you can't do the transfer deadline days anymore because you know about the transfers 2 weeks before it happens. You know what I'm saying?
I know. That's what I'm saying, man. Football's different nowadays.
No, but hold on. But at the same time,
to be fair, we've done it well with the Kanji and stuff.
Do you know what? You can blame.
Can I just say,
Romano has killed the sales of dildos, man. There'd be more dildo sales if there was no.
LB, if it wasn't done the way it is now, we would not get streams of you doing a flight simulation flight tracker, for like 4 hours of people that aren't even on planes, right? Yeah, we wouldn't get that. So it's evolved and it's become better.
That was Hugh's idea.
I mean, listen.
What?
You're still buying dildos, to be fair.
Bring back the dildos, man. Bring back the dildos. Forget the flight simulators.
Tell you what, Stefan.
Next home game you're at, Hugh, I'll bring you one.
What, have you got several then?
Yeah.
Who, me?
Weirdos.
Anyway, let's move on.
LB, can I just say one thing, right? Just on, because I keep forgetting to say it. Nothing about dildos, don't worry. Chelsea, right? I do wonder if they've got some kind of...
Speaking of, good segue. Very good segue, mate.
Sorry, Chelsea. I've completely bloody lost my train of thought now. I do wonder if Chelsea have found something out about this APT stuff or whatever. Yeah, APT. Just because they don't give a flying. So they're just off spending, doing whatever they want. They're now buying João Felix. They'll buy someone else tomorrow, keeping Gallagher, all this sort of shit. So I do wonder if they know something about this bloody case and they've gone, we don't give a flying.
I don't know. I think Chelsea are operating in a completely different world to everybody else. But listen, we've got Stefan back. Stefan, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you nice and clear. I was saying, obviously we've not had too much information really, but like what can you add or speculate on based off what we've heard, and can you sort of like give us anything on this?
Well,
news?
I've only heard the end of. I only heard the last sort of 10 minutes because I've been playing. But look, the Ziegler is reliable. I mean, it's somebody that I speak to from time to time. It's hard to say who's given him the information because I very much doubt it's anybody connected to City. I don't believe that there's a connection between the two. So some of the phraseology in the article I think is slightly wrong. And just because I wouldn't pore over every word and take every word as an indicator that it's completely right. It will be Ziegler piecing together bits of information that he's told potentially by various parties. I suspect that the hearing will start in September, and I think if it is timetabled, given that it's a 10-week timetable, if you think about the number of people who are involved in this as effectively a trial, there's very little chance it's going to move from that window. So the suggestion that it might kind of still move around is pretty unlikely, because people's diaries for the rest of the year have been effectively booked out by both sides. So you probably got on both sides something like 20 people, solicitors and barristers. So this is going to happen when it's booked in to happen. In terms of the APT some success line, I mean, really, that could mean anything. I mean, I think it's been reported previously that City felt that things had gone well in the APT hearing, but it doesn't mean they've necessarily won anything material, and we should wait and see. But I don't believe that anything coming out of that, even a complete victory for City, would have any impact whatsoever on the 115 case. I'm afraid. I mean, I know that you can believe what I'm saying or not, but I just don't see it. You're talking about a set of rules, the APT rules, that may or may not be lawful. As you correctly said, if they're unlawful, then of course they should be removed and it should be uncontroversial. But they are rules that only came into play after Newcastle's takeover, and the bits that City appear to be challenging are the only bits that came in actually this year. So of course they would have no impact on the allegations that are made in respect to City hiding things and effectively making up sponsorship agreements 10 years ago. So I wouldn't get carried away with the interconnection between the two, but we'll see. I think the only other thing that I tweeted just after I saw the leak is I don't see how there can be a quick decision. For context, a 10-week trial is absolutely enormous. There are very few trials in the High Court that would last 10 weeks. It's a bit more common in criminal law that it would be a long trial, but in terms of the sort of civil and commercial dispute that we're looking at here, 10 weeks is an incredibly long trial. So I would expect it to take some months before we had a decision from the panel after it finishes. So I think what's likely is this will run all the way effectively till Christmas or sort of, mid-December probably. And you won't see something for, it's very, very hard to believe that it would be anything less than 3 months and could easily be a lot more. So the issue they've got, of course, is how you fit in any decision that is not a complete success for City, how you fit that in within a football timetable. and that's anybody's guess. So we'll have to see. We'll just have to see how things pan out and what further information comes out. But at the moment, we're obviously not working on very much.
Just a question for Stefan, if I might. Can, whatever the result of this case may be, could City then essentially go and appeal it, which would then result in sort of longer sort of decision?
Well, both sides can, and to be honest, if City lose, I think it's absolutely certain they will appeal.
Can I just ask a question as well? I think we all sort of agree and understand that they're two very separate cases and they're not interlinked or whatever. But we're all as fans kind of speculating and coming up with conclusions and theories as to what City's motive behind suing the Premier League exactly was in June. Just in your opinion, what do you think the motive behind it was?
Well, as I said at the time, I think it was a kind of. I think it's really as you described earlier, which is just had enough, and so that they don't agree with those APT rules. They believe that the first set were probably wrong, but the second set just went too far for them, so they thought that they would challenge them. I think it's an accumulation of frustration as to how those votes have gone over time. But that of course doesn't necessarily mean they'll win. The thing that most people from the outside don't realise is that when you get into one of these hearings, particularly on something like competition law and the APT rules, both sides barristers will sound absolutely convincing. So if you were to read either side's papers, you would be absolutely certain that side had won from just reading one side of the submission. So it's very, very hard to say what the outcome will be on any of these points, even if City felt they had a strong case. So we'll see. But I think it was a bit of frustration. That took them there. But City, I think, have also, if it really is coming in September, I did say at the time I didn't think that it was ideal that you would have a lot of the same barristers busy in the APT hearing all the way through June in advance of the preparation for the much more serious 115. And if it turns out now that that's actually coming in September, it's not ideal, because you would have had a team completely focused on APT all the way through to the beginning of July, and then you will have had holidays in the middle of it, and then you go straight into a September hearing. But look, City have got as we know, the best lawyers, and
Rodri doesn't get any holidays, so why should they?
Yeah. Well, if I tell you something, a 10-week trial.
Yeah.
The thing that a 10-week trial is going to do is mentally destroy the barristers and the solicitors and City's internal legal team. I mean, that intensity of battle from a kind of intellectual standpoint is very, very hard going. I mean, I've done trials that have been a lot shorter than 10 weeks, and you come out of them and everybody just, it's incredibly taxing. So 10 weeks is a real haul, and it's going to be very challenging for them over that period of time to keep, absolutely focused and on top of their games for 10 weeks.
Just a question on that. During that 10-week period, because I think we already know during that 10-week period, somehow there will be news, whether it's false news or real news, that's constantly being leaked, saying about how the case is going. From your experiences, will things get, like, if we hear anything during that 10-week period, is it ultimately fake news and people are just making up for headlines, or really might there be information being put out to the public about how it's going?
Well, I mean, it's going to be impossible to know. So,
right, okay.
I mean, you're not going to know whether the rumor is true or the rumor is completely made up. So, I think the one thing you can be pretty sure about is City won't leak it. So,
yeah.
I know the City sort of approach, and I'm pretty sure City won't be the leaking party. So, if stuff is coming out, then it's coming out, via the other people in the room. So that you can read into that what you wish.
Yeah, very interesting. Stefan, I don't know how long you've got, but one thing that I wanted to ask, mate, was if City are obviously very confident about the 115, the language that they've used, irrefutable evidence for me is extremely strong. My sort of question, and this is just like a basic sort of fan question, is if City were being told by the lawyers that, oh, there is a chance you could lose this case, why would they even bother with the ATP case? Why, if you thought that you could lose the 115 case, why would you bother creating this second storm of City, doing this whole challenging the Premier League rules? City going to ruin football. I remember watching you on TalkSport and hearing some of the stuff that you was having to deal with. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, my point is, should the fact that City have challenged these ATP rules give more confidence to City fans around the world? Because otherwise, if City did think that they could lose the case in the 115, why even bother challenging rules that is a Premier League rule?
Sorry, just in addition to that as well, about the stock exchange as well. With going with the stock exchange, obviously with ringing the bell, that's obviously quite a public thing as well.
Stock exchange with Etihad, you mean?
It was just to follow on from what LB had said, obviously about using terms such as irrefutable evidence, but then also going live within the stock exchange as well. Sort of all of these sort of anomalies, if you like.
Yeah, I think you can ignore the Etihad IPO if that's what you're referring to. I mean, first of all, I don't know whether it's happening. Secondly, it was going to be happening in a local market as opposed to in a market in the West. So I think you can probably put that to one side. Look, I think the reality is City think that they're going to win, right? I mean, clearly they hope they're going to win, but they think they're going to win. They're confident, but it doesn't mean they will win. And City will also know that. So City will know that even the strongest cases sometimes lose. And so I think City's conduct as an organisation, really, since this started, has always been business as usual. And if the worst happens, we'll deal with it. But in terms of kind of trying to plan for the worst case scenario, I don't think that's what they've been thinking about. So to go through a business as usual approach, if there's something that they want to challenge, i.e. the APT rules, then that's what they're going to do. And we'll see whether that strategy is the right strategy or not as we get the results of these things over the next 9 months to a year.
Interesting. And just finally, Stefan, we got obviously every time like Everton got charged, Forest, and obviously we got the cast. We got big reports that we could read the full details. Are we going to get that for the ATP rules decision, and will we get that for the 115 so people can read these judgments?
Yeah. So on the APT, there's no process whereby the decision is published or even made public. So never mind not getting the rationale and the written reasons, you don't get anything unless they decide, because of the public interest, that they need to react in some way and give the public some kind of insight as to what happened. So that's on the APT. But the other one, the 115, is completely different. And we will get, I would think it will be something like 200 pages plus, maybe even more, of analysis of the case.
So the 1151 is in the legal public domain then?
It will be fully in the public domain. So it will be a very, very long, very detailed decision, which will set out the facts, what the parties argued, and what the decision was. And the reason that it's going to be so detailed is because it will form the basis of any appeal. So they will say in any appeal that the decision of the panel was wrong because of X, Y, and Z, and they will refer back to the decision, the written reasons. So yes, there will be a very, very big document that comes out, which will be another headache for everybody, because obviously it will take a long time for people to read it, and secondly, it will only be understood by probably a relatively small number of people. It will probably be one of the most read decisions sort of in legal history, because obviously ordinarily legal decisions tend to be read by law students and lawyers, whereas if you put a legal decision into the biggest sport in the world and you give it the biggest case that's ever been, then clearly it's going to get more eyeballs than probably any legal decision in history.
Mad. Crazy. Listen, anyone else on the panel got any questions for Stefan?
Just one. I'll take one more because I've not eaten. So
no worries, mate.
No, I just want to say thank you for all the amazing updates that you do, Stefan. Really do appreciate it.
Keep up the great work, Stefan.
Yeah.
Thanks, lads.
Thanks, Stefan. Yeah.
So, sorry to cut across a lot of the good news that you were hoping for, but like, you can take it or leave it. It's just I just
we'll take the big good bits, leave the bad bits.
So what you're saying is there's a chance. There is a chance, right?
That's what I say on every night.
Yeah,
there is a good chance. I mean, it is a positive article in some respects. I mean, it is good that they felt that some parts of the APT have gone well. The only thing that you've got to remember is, even if they win the APT, really all that happens is that they can do some more commercial deals. I mean, it's not that exciting. It's actually probably more important for Newcastle that City win, and probably also, ironically, for Chelsea, so that they can get themselves a front of shirt sponsor for this season. So an interesting twist there that actually doesn't really matter that much to City.
Yeah.
Stefan, I was just very quickly going to say that LB, you've just said they're a good chance. You know, LB's going to cut that, clip that, put that all over X tomorrow. That's his headline, mate. You've done him there.
I'm just saying Martin being suspiciously quiet. He read 93 pages from the Cass case. Now he's already sussing out doing a show for the 200 next year.
Yeah, it's probably more. I mean, it'll probably be 300 or 400. I mean, that's
fine for Martin.
It will be a massive decision.
Will that be released as throughout the case, or will it just be all released at the end?
Yeah, it'll be at the end. Yeah. Well, we don't actually know. I mean, we don't know. But I mean, the ordinary way it would work is that you would.
Yeah, it's just in regards to if you can follow along, kind of thing. That was
no. You won't be following along with. There won't be any disclosure about the blow by blow. There would, if it was in the High Court, then we'd all be able to apply for sight of the witness statements. We'd be able to get hold of the skeleton arguments as they're known, which are the sort of the summary of each side's case that they're going to take the panel through in the 10 weeks. That at the start of the hearing, they'll have these very long documents, probably 30 pages of their skeleton argument, which will refer to the key documents and will form the basis of the start of the trial. But so in the High Court, as in terms of open justice, journalists might be able to get hold of those, but in this hearing, there's no way. So we're going to be very limited. Anyway, better go. Thanks for all that. I hope that was useful. Cheers.
Thanks,
much appreciated.
So when he said one more question, I was just waiting for someone to jump in with a dildo comment.
What is wrong with you guys tonight?
That is you.
No.
It's a very interesting conversation.
I was itching to ask him his opinions on the sale of dildos since Romano started doing it.
We all behave
the kind of guy who would join in on that.
No, you all, you know what, lads? You
very
know what I mean? You all did very well there. You know
Thank
what
you.
I mean? Yeah, guys in the chat, can we get a W
Yes,
in the
sir,
chat?
we
for
were
the
all
guys?
You know what
I'll be here
LB's like?
for you.
LB's like the teacher talking to the class after you've had like a guest speaker in.
Have you
I
not
felt
just
like a
been
little
speaking
I
like
felt
for the last
nervous.
hour? I'm trying to have a serious
Students, you did
conversation,
so
and
well today.
Daps
I'm
is
going
here
to allow
talking
you,
about
a
saying
10-minute early mark.
Hold on,
to
hold
go
on.
home.
No, see how I get. This is what happens with Steve all
This
the
is
time,
the
right?
quietest
You
I've ever
just said
seen him.
that I was not the one that brought up dildos, LB. I always get a bad press, right? I was
Who
about
brought
the
it
fourth-
up? Who brought it up?
Martin.
No, it was. Whoa, no, it wasn't.
No,
No,
someone
it
brought
wasn't.
it up. Who
It
was
was
it?
actually.
115.
It was actually Luke or you. It was one of those.
It was
two
not
that
me.
brought
It
up.
was
Go back
Luke.
and
Look at
rewatch
his
this. It was
grin.
not
Look at
me.
his
It
bloody
was not
grin. It's
me.
Luke. Here he goes. He's off.
Hugh's frozen. Oh, I thought you'd frozen there, Hugh. Sorry.
What are you saying, you main road loser?
What?
No, it was Hugh.
No,
It was Hugh who brought it up.
It was Hugh.
Oh,
or Luke.
wasn't it? Was
One of the
it was
two.
you, Luke?
Martin, were you 98%?
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
I'm so glad I look at them both. These two are like the naughty children at the back of the class.
Totally agree. Awful, awful
Right.
behavior.
It's all good, Luke. You're taking a lot of pressure off me.
People have got to go because people have lives and other work commitments. Big up to
Douglas, right? Behave. You can't.
big up to Connor who sent in a super chat. He says, "Great show, guys. My birthday's tomorrow, so great to see you all on one stream. Keep up the great work with all your channels, guys. Big up, Connor. Happy birthday from
Thank you,
everyone on the
Connor.
panel tonight.
Happy birthday tomorrow.
To you.
No, let's not do that. Otherwise, you'll be here all
Well,
day.
your shirt, by the way.
It's well nice. I really like it.
I got this one.
I do actually really like it. I like them all. I think they're so.
Very nice.
I've got to get that one.
That for me.
As long as you've kind of got Savio on the back already.
If you
Yeah.
got
That
the
one's
back,
the one.
Mourinho, actually.
Grealish, guarantee he's got
I've
Grealish on the back.
No, I've not. No, stop.
Me?
I've not got Grealish on the back.
Grealish.
He's got Nitin Patel on the back.
He's got Mateus Nunes.
He's got Shaw and then 98.
No, I've got Main Road and then CUNT on the back.
He's got Barry Conlon.
98.
Right, boys. Listen, guys, make sure you've all smashed the like on the stream. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Every single one of these guys' YouTube channels is linked in the description below. Every single one of these guys jumped on with less than 30 minutes notice. So make sure you go and show them some support and subscribe to the channel. A couple of the lads are going live now. Martin's going live. Daps is going live on his channel as well. You know? I thought you were live.
You are, Martin.
Tomorrow. Whoa.
Tomorrow.
I'm doing a space in a bit, but I'm not going live.
No, he's going live. He just hasn't invited you, Pat. That's
Yeah, I think that might as well.
That's right. I think it chooses as we go, Dabs. It's all good.
Hey, don't worry.
Daps is going live.
I don't allow his autocratic dictatorship to apply to me.
Hey, Pat, I haven't told him yet, but Alan's got free transferred over to LB's.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, yes. He's just on the bench like Nunes at the moment. Big up to Anida says, big up to Martin. Thank you for doing spaces. Says Anida. Big up to you for the donation. Obviously, big up to Toad and Martin for all the spaces that they do. Listen, I'm going to end the stream. You're going to go over to Never a Foul. Redirect is on. It'll be a link in the live chat, or it'll come up saying up next. Subscribe to everyone's channel. Smash a like. Big up to Stefan as well for jumping on. And we'll catch you in the next one. See you later.